A physical fistfight broke out in federal court when a convicted January 6th insurrectionist was caught mimicking his leader, Donald Trump, by doxing and attacking FBI agents on social media. So he was hauled into court before when his sentencing was set to take place because this was a violation of the terms of his release. The prosecutors brought this to the attention of the judge, who was horrified by the conduct of this January 6th insurrectionist. The judge made certain passing references that seemed to be referring to Donald Trump and other leaders in MAGA who are inspiring this conduct. More on this in a moment. And as this January 6th insurrectionist, his name is Vitaly Gashjankowski, was ordered to be remanded into custody, he started attacking the police officers. He started attacking people in the courtroom. So multiple police officers, multiple court staff had to come in to restrain him. This was someone who was built like a linebacker, is how it's been described. It took multiple police officers several minutes to fully restrain this individual. So a January 6th insurrectionist who was convicted of felonies for attacking police officers on January 6th, thereafter mimicking Donald Trump by doxing police officers and FBI agents online, went into court and started attacking police officers in the federal courtroom. It was chaos and pandemonium. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. I want to describe what went down, and I want to give a hat tip here as well to Scott MacFarlane, a reporter from CBS who's in the courtroom each and every day, who does incredible, diligent work. Make sure you're following Scott as well and checking out all of his reporting. As Scott MacFarlane explains, Vitaly Gashjankowski was previously convicted in a jury trial in federal court in Washington, D.C. on 6 counts, 3 felonies, including assault on police. And the feds, the Department of Justice, argued that his post-trial conduct was, quote, vile and reprehensible, that he has acted in a deranged and dangerous manner, especially given the volatile state of the world. Gashjankowski used a lot of anti-Semitic epithets and started saying horrific things about the agent's religion. This was brought to the attention of the court in a brief that was filed by the Department of Justice. The United States motion to reconsider and revoke the defendant's post-trial release. As the Department of Justice explained in its briefing, the United States of America respectfully moves this court to reconsider and revoke, in light of defendant Vitaly Gashjankowski's recent conduct, the court's determination ordering the defendant's continued release after trial and pending sentencing. Following the jury's verdict in March of 2023, the court declines, the judge who declined to do this, to order this defendant, this January 6th insurrectionist, detained. In recent days, however, the defendant has made or attempted to make contact via harassing text with one of the law enforcement officers involved in this case. This court should accordingly reconsider its prior release determination and order the defendant detained. So that was the briefing that was written by the Department of Justice, and it talked about how on March of 2023, a jury found defendant guilty of 3 felony offenses and 3 misdemeanor offenses. And one of the offenses was for attacking police officers during the January 6th insurrection. During the pendency of his prosecution, the defendant repeatedly used his social media to make intimidating statements regarding members of the FBI. And, who's he following? Who's he taking cues from here? This is the type of conduct that Donald Trump is inspiring in making these radicalized extremist insurrectionists feel that they're emboldened to engage in this conduct. So here's one of the things that Vitaly posted. Spotted them outside. It's just horrific to say. I mean, I'm not even going to read some of this stuff. But he's showing photographs of the vehicles where the FBI agents are, and then he posts, "Why is it difficult to find a list of FBI agents' contact infos on the internet? You could easily find a cop's name and contact info within several minutes." And then the Department of Justice showed that in this past weekend, the defendant's harassing conduct escalated. In the evening of Saturday, October 14th, one of the law enforcement officers associated with this case received the following text messages from defendant's cell phone number. And then it goes on to say, I'm not even going to show these texts. We could just flash them for a second. Just horrific anti-Semitic things, threatening the life of the agent, threatening the life of the agent's colleagues. It is real horrific stuff right here. The judge on the case, Judge Paul Friedman, talked about how the threats against judges aren't even just coming from people in public life, but from their followers as well. So obviously, it appears to be a reference to not just people from public life, but also from their followers who are listening to the things that they are saying. And obviously, Judge Friedman didn't name any specific names there, but is clearly talking about, in my view, Donald Trump and some other, in my opinion, other MAGA Republicans as well, who are further radicalizing these insurrectionists. And then the judge ordered Vitaly Groszczynski into jail immediately, violating the terms of his release by his social media posts right there. And then Groszczynski began resisting the federal agents. The table toppled. Several agents tried to restrain him. Several agents tried to get him under the control. As Scott McFarland stated, he was built like a Division I linebacker. And so it took a lot of agents to finally subdue this individual as he was attacking police officers in the courtroom, and he was remanded into custody. Now, a few observations from this. Number one, here is yet another instance, in my view, of Donald Trump radicalizing these insurrectionists who are mimicking his conduct, as Donald Trump calls out the FBI and says disparaging, defamatory things about the FBI and Jack Smith and others. This is the conduct that is naturally flowing from that. As Judge Chutkan, the judge over Donald Trump's case in Washington, D.C. federal court for Donald Trump's attempt to overthrow the results of the 2020 election, explained in her order reinstating the gag order on Donald Trump for his threats against the Department of Justice, Special Counsel Jack Smith's team and Special Counsel Jack Smith's team's family members, as well as witnesses. There are direct instances where Donald Trump's threats, where Donald Trump's statements have led to actual conduct being carried out, threats being made, by the way, including threats to Judge Chutkan, someone now in federal custody and federal prosecution for threatening Judge Chutkan's life, and people who are threatening the lives of witnesses and threatening the lives of Special Counsel Jack Smith and others as a result of Donald Trump's conduct. I also think that an important lesson to be learned from this is this motion that was filed by the Department of Justice here. You know, one of the things that Judge Friedman criticized the Department of Justice for here was not bringing this to the judge's attention sooner, which I get why the judge would say that, but ultimately the judge didn't remand originally this insurrectionist into custody. And this is someone who the Department of Justice asked back in March to be locked up. And so when you don't take swift and immediate action against these dangerous people, guess what? They do very dangerous things. And then you go back to this motion, United States motion to reconsider and revoke the defendant's post-trial release. So if this were to be a motion styled with respect to Donald Trump's violation of a gag order, now that it's been reinstated, it would be the government, special counsel, the United States motion to revoke Donald Trump's pre-trial release in terms of conditions of release for violating the gag order. So I wanted to also show you this motion that was brought, show you how an insurrectionist who was out there putting threats on social media, just like Donald Trump, got remanded into custody for violating the terms and conditions of that January 6th insurrectionist release. And therefore, I also feel that as Donald Trump violates the gag order, this is a motion that Special Counsel Jack Smith could, and I think ultimately will, now that the gag order is imposed, file. And again, you see who these MAGA supporters are, who these MAGA Republicans are. I'm reminded by this sign that I've been seeing out more and more and more. I don't know if you've been seeing it, but the sign says, "I'm a Republican, but not a fool." President Biden for president, because, this is Vitaly Gostronkowski and this is what the Republican Party looks like today. And it is very, very, very distressing to see that. So there you have it, folks. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Thank you for watching. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers thanks to your support. Check us out at patreon.com and have a great day.
Hey, Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.